we tried to live for the moment, making the best of each day until the bomb, or the picker as we call it, changed everything.
Sadako is the story of a young girl living in Japan in the 1950s. She was 2 years old when the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima at the end of the Second World War. She survived the bomb, but then 10 years later she developed leukemia. She's kind of Anne Frank of the Pacific War, a symbol of what war does to children and children rising above circumstances and working towards peace and to a greater good. I fell in love with the story about 20 years ago, and Peter Hayes and I of Heart and Eyes Theatre Collective, we made a version of it, a much smaller, modest version of it about 15 years ago.
My darling angel, it's beautiful, but you shouldn't have.
Peter and I in Hearts and Eyes, when we look at a new work, we think, what will be the best medium for this story? So we don't choose the medium first. We think about how best to serve this particular story. And in the case of Sadako, it's a story about children, but it's quite a complex and profound and serious story about children. And I wanted some way to represent the spirit of what a child is, but marry that with the skill of a really good, mature, trained adult actor. And so puppetry was my answer. The audience sees a child this high. They see the youthful face, the children's clothes, the image of a child, and yet the child is voiced and performed by a really good professional actor.
My white blood cell count is too high. Much higher than it should be. And now I know I have leukemia. I just wish I could talk to my mommy about it.
It's been one of the most physically demanding shows that I've had to do. It's the first time that I've worked with this style of puppet, Bunraku puppets, and it's been very challenging but incredibly rewarding at the same time. Physically, people think that it's quite simple, but in terms of the way you manipulate the puppet, you need a lot of upper body strength. And even when the puppet's doing very little, you've got to keep the puppet alive. You've got to breathe the puppet. So that's actually the hardest part. So to tell a young person's story using the puppets, I think, is an incredible medium to do that with. But it's not only just for children. It translates also for adults.
Hospital bills, and Sadako needs another round of blood transfusions.
This story is a universe story in the sense that it's beautifully told and it inspires people to just take a step back.
On the 25th of October, 1955, she had folded close to 1,500 cranes. She didn't get the long life that she wanted, but in our hearts, she will live forever.